So today we are going to talk, I'm going to talk about Carl Jung's Jungian psychology, new ethic versus old ethic. What is it? I'm not going to go too much into the Kabbalah, like we say, into the mysticism and esotericism of it, but I'm going to explain it very briefly. Whoever wants to discuss it in depth, who read the book Depth Psychology or is familiar with Carl Jung's work or R.Nachman's work, please DM me, send me a comment, a reply, whatever you guys want, and I'll go full in depth, we'll dig deep. But today in this episode with In the Car with Coach Avi, we're going to learn how to use it in a practical way. So, what is the old ethic? The old ethic is to repress and suppress our negatives, to stay away, to push away our negative qualities, our shortcomings, our evilness in us. So, Carl Jung mentions the unconscious. He names it the shadow, which is the tyrannical evil that exists within us. We have ancestral DNA, so different fears that we have, different likings or things that attract us are ingrained in us from our ancestors millions and millions of years ago. So the unconscious in the old ethic should not be touched, should not be mingled with the conscious. So you suppress it, you repress it, and you project a fake identity to the public. So I'll give you an example. So let's say you're an evil man. I don't know. You're greedy, you're jealous, you're vain, you love blood, whatever the case is. But you try to repress that and you try to ignore, no, I'm perfect. And that's exactly it. The old ethic preaches perfection. And you project an image that's not really yours. Carl Jung comes and uses the new ethic, which is to combine, to accept, to embrace the unconscious with the conscience. Meaning that instead of repressing and suppressing our shadow, we are accepting it. We are taking in that shadow, God forbid not to act upon it, but to start the process of transformation. That's how deep he goes. So we go from collectiveness to individualization. The old ethic is collectiveness. I'm projecting an image to the collective. But the new ethic is working internally, working within yourself. And he continues by saying, once again, it's a very, very mystical, deep book. So I'm really putting it in layman's terms. What he says is, as we accept and embrace that shadow, we have to work to make ourselves better, to accept that darkness, accept that we're not perfect, but to become wholesome. And I did a little research, which I will do on another, not in another episode, I will do in another YouTube video, where in Hebrew, perfection is mushlam. Okay, mushlam, which is perfect. Wholesome is shalem. Okay, so there's mushlam and shalem. The difference in numerical value, because in Hebrew there's the numerical value which is called gematria, the difference is 46. And if we take 46, we get badam, which is in the blood. And what blood are we talking about? We're talking about blood memory, that ancestral DNA that I talk about. So that's how you could merge, harmonize, bring into harmony the conscious and unconsciousness with that blood memory. That is totally a different session, which will be much, much more in depth and complex, but that's not going to be in the car with Coach Avi episode. That's going to be something else. So how do we use all that information? Coach Avi's talking about the old ethic. Coach Avi's talking about the new ethic, conscious, unconscious, collective, individual, perfect, wholesome. What's going on? How do we use that information practically? And it's simple. Accept your faults. As simple as that. You are not a perfect being. Moses, who was the epitome of all the prophets. King Solomon, who was the wisest man in the world. Samson, Hercules, the strongest humans in the world. They all had faults. King David, and I could go on and on and on and on and on. They all had faults. You have to admit your faults. You are jealous. Let me work on that jealousy. Boom. Right there, you accepted that shadow. You're greedy. Let me work on my greediness. You get angry a lot. Let me work on that anger. You have to accept your shortcomings. That's how you grow. That's how you better yourself. That's how an individual can help the collective. If you cannot see the shortcomings in you, then who are you to judge others? Who are you to feel self-righteous and to be there for the community? I'm here for the community. Excuse me? You're not even here for yourself. So work on yourself. Accept those shortcomings. Work on them. Change your vocabulary, your interior communication vocabulary, the words that you use within yourself. Oh, I'm cheap. I'm such a bad man. No, I'm cheap. You know what? Why am I cheap? Am I afraid that I'm not going to have money anymore? Am I afraid that I'm going to miss out when I'm going to... Okay, how can I fix that? Oh, maybe I could put, instead of putting 10%, I could put 20% aside. Okay, you know that I can invest money right there. You're getting better. You're growing. You're learning. One thing is going to bring you to something new. New doors will open. New avenues will open. You will have a better and bigger, more efficient, more productive network. All that because you accepted the shadow, the unconscious, the shortcomings in you. And I'll finish with a story. A Rabbi R.Nachman story, very excellent story, where it's about a chandelier. So this man, this parent, this father, had a son who was an artist, who was brilliant. He was a genius, a gaon. So he sent his son to the best art school in the world. And he stayed there a couple of years, and the father spent a lot of money for his son. After 2-3 years, let's say, the son announced that he was coming back, and the father wanted to show off to the whole city the genius of his son, what artist he is, what he creates, the beauty. So he created this whole party. He invited the rich and the nobles, la bourgeoisie, whatever the case is. And his son came, and he was like, oh, wow, Dad. So he's like, bring me something that you're most proud of. So he brought him a chandelier. So they put the chandelier, they hid it with the curtains and all that. And they all started eating the cocktail and all that. Then the father, ting, ting, ting. Ladies and gentlemen, guests, thank you very much for coming. I am so proud of my son, and this is in honor of my son, and thank you for being here. You know, the whole 9 yards. And now we are going to reveal my son's magical chandelier. And they reveal it, and everybody's like, that's genius. And everybody's in awe. They're like, they expected something so beautiful, something so majestic. They were like, well, you see, that diamond is not straight. Oh, that crystal, it's not clear enough. The metal, the way it's shaped, it's too thin. Well, you know, I think it's too fat. And every single one of those guests saw a shortcoming, a negative trait in the chandelier. The father was going to go crazy. Son, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. I didn't see you for 2-3 years. this monstrosity you bring me. He's like, Daddy, listen to me. All the shortcomings, all the negative traits, all the ugliness that they're seeing in this chandelier, it's a pure reflection of their own ugliness. Have a great day, guys.